Welcome to the beautiful campus of Howard University and the 2025 Allen Sack National Symposium, Advancing Integrity in College Sport. My name is Julie Summer, and I'm the Executive Director of the Drake Group Education Fund. On behalf of the Board of Directors, thank you all for coming today. To all of you who made possible the attendance of our aspiring graduate and undergraduate students in the room with generous gifts, you are listed on the front screen and in our program. These young people are our next generation of sports lawyers, sport management professionals, journalists, and we thank you for your great generosity. Just a few housekeeping comments. In the center of each table, our instructions are on accessing your complimentary internet connection. We ask that you silence your cell phones, but they can be used to access the panelist bios and other content. If you look at the back of your program, note that there's a QR code in the lower left. That QR code will connect you to the Drake Group Education Fund.org Symposium resource page, where you can access panelist biographies and other information mentioned during the program. All materials located on our website will continue to be available after the program, including a full recording of the proceedings today. Because you can access the panelist bios at any time, our introductions of panelists will be brief. The theme of this year's conference is the pivot point, college athletics at a crossroads. We're focusing on how the landscape of college sports continues to evolve, examining the shifting dynamics between education, athlete compensation, and the commercialization of college athletics, and how these developments impact college athletes' academic success, health, and well-being. You will hear from academic experts, journalists, and education and government leaders who are questioning these stressors now being experienced by college athletes. All of our moderators and speakers are donating their time to be here and share their expertise, and we are so grateful for their participation in the 2025 SAC Symposium. You'll see on your program, while West Virginia University President Gordon Gee had wished he could attend today, due to pressing responsibilities related to attend. Our Drake Group Education Fund finds its perfect partner in Howard University, a beacon of HBCU excellence, in the Bison Athletic Department, our hosts for this fourth annual Allen Sack Symposium. They're the perfect partner for this national symposium on college athletics at a crossroads. Sponsoring 21 teams and serving 500 athletes, the largest program among all HBCUs, the Bisons have flourished under the leadership of Carrie Davis since 2015. Howard athletes have excelled on the playing fields, achieved high graduation rates and GPAs in the classroom, and engaged in numerous community partnerships. We have asked one of the most respected and successful athletic administrators in the country to make opening remarks. Please welcome Bison Director of Athletics, Carrie Davis. We could have the panelists for panel number one come up.
So welcome, everyone. My name is Carrie Davis. I am the athletic director here at Howard University. And I'd like to welcome everyone to the Mecca. Now, for those of you who don't know, the uninitiated, that is Howard University, the Mecca. Right. And so I just want to test who's in the room. Can I get HU? You know. Okay, we're a little weak on the Howard students. One more time. HU? You know. We're getting better, getting better. Okay. First of all, I want to thank Julie Summer, Executive Director of the Drake Group, for inviting me to speak at today's symposium. I want to welcome the administrators, panelists, students, and other guests, board of directors as well. I want to talk a little bit about my background for a reason. I've had a pretty diverse background on this planet. After playing basketball, and we'll start here. I grew up in the South Bronx. Not a whole lot of diversity. After playing basketball at possibly for lack of a better word, the least diverse university in the country, I went on to be a graduate assistant at law school. And I really wanted to be a basketball coach. That was my dream. But when I saw the difference of some of my classmates between what assistant basketball coaches were going to make and what Wall Street was paying, I sort of got diverted. Worked on Wall Street as a corporate lawyer. I worked on one antitrust case for a year and a half. I worked on another labor case for 2.5 years. That was the life of a young Wall Street attorney at the time. I then went into entertainment law because my family was involved in entertainment, and I did that for almost 10 years, working in the music business, working in theater. We produced plays in Europe and Japan and on Broadway. And from there, I went to HBO, where I served for 17 years as the head of sports programming, dealing with people like Don King and Floyd Mayweather and Mike Tyson and Ryan Gumbel and the NFL. I say all that to say this. Every time someone asks me, well, how did you make that transition? I always respond, it was the challenge that drove me. It was the challenge of doing something different. And so when the opportunity came for me to come to Howard, I looked at that as a challenge. Boy, Howard was this great, almost uncut diamond, if you will. It was raw in terms of its athletic department. And my goal was to have the athletic department match all of the excellence of the rest of the university, educationally, socially, politically. And that's been our goal, our North Star from the day I started, almost 10 years ago. And I say all that to say, in the last 18 months, I have never seen more challenges in any profession, anything that I had ever done in my life before. Right? This presents the most challenge. The academic environment that we are now in presents the greatest challenge that I've seen. And that's saying a lot when you've stood between Mike Tyson and Lennox Lewis as they're about to engage in a brawl on court and on a stage, and you're the only one in between them. Trust me, that was a challenge too. So the question is, where do we go from here? And I thought the title of the symposium, Pivot Point, right, was an interesting one. I just returned from San Antonio for the Final Four. And the two words I heard most administrators say almost repeatedly, or maybe it was 3 words, Wild, Wild West. Another word I heard was chaos, uncertainty. The combination of the unlimited transfer rules, NIL, and the uncertainty of the House settlement has resulted in an unstable environment like many of us have never seen before. A year ago, in this room, we invited Jeffrey Kessler and a number of different people to speak to this group. And Jeffrey was so passionate. And at one point in my life, I actually worked with Jeffrey years ago when I was a labeler. So I knew his passion. And the point he made was a good one. The NCAA is a multi-billion-dollar industry, right? The people who are out front in that industry are our student athletes. They should share in the largesse. Absolutely great point. Believe in it 100%. However, how do we do that? Because the reality is there are different tiers of performers in this industry. I face challenges at Howard. Manuel Ward faces challenges at Michigan. But our challenges are met with different resources. I don't have the multi-million dollar contract with a television network. We're not drawing 25,000 people to our arena for every game or 100,000 people to the big house for a football game. Right. So when we negotiate a settlement, if you will, we're negotiating from different mindsets. Now, again, last year I stood up here and I said, maybe collective bargaining, I actually whispered it, but maybe collective bargaining is the way out of this. I whispered it. Well, here I am a year later, I'm saying it with my chest. Because the only way we're going to be able to move a path forward is if we have all sides and every stakeholder at the table talking about their issues and resolving them in a way that befits all of us. And let's put back the term education in the conversation. This is not just a business. I'm here to promote excellence amongst my 500 student athletes. I care as much about winning the NCAA basketball tournament game than I do about them getting an A in the classroom. That's my goal as an administrator. Where's that reflected in the House settlement? I don't see it. And so my job at this point is I want to be a voice. I want to have a voice in this future going forward. And the one thing I want to look at is I want to look to you, the people in the stakeholders, if you will, in this industry, to make your voices heard. It's young people who are going to think outside the box, who are not going to be captured by what we did 50 years ago or 40 years ago. Not going to be held to those things. We have to think differently in today's world. That's my message to this group. So I welcome you to Howard University. I think Howard is a great place for this because our students, right, are active. They want to have a say, right, in their journey. They want to have a say about what happens in this planet. They want to have a say about their education. And for that, I applaud them, I encourage them, and just like I'm going to encourage all of you. The mission of the Drake Group is very simple: to ensure the promise of college athletics is realized for all stakeholders. Well, that is our goal today. Let's make sure that we ensure that the promise of college athletics, education, and athletics are all part of our future. So thank you. Welcome to Howard University. Enjoy the day, and I'll be listening for some great ideas. Thank you again.